One of the hardest things you're going to have to deal with in a relationship is communication. A lot of people really don't want to communicate about the deeper ways in which they feel. This leaves them hamstrung by a way in which they're unable to fully comprehend or understand where they're at or their partner's at, because there's no transparency towards how they truly feel. Because sometimes they might feel contradictory to the relationship, and that's going to bring trouble, bad trouble, if that's our perception. But our perception can be wrong. Usually, to be transparent is to keep things in order. But unfortunately today we live in a culture where people, you'll have to sit please, you'll have to sit, where people are frightened to tell how they really feel. It's like there's something wrong with it. And so what happens is things get mixed up, things get muddled up, and there's a crossover into confusion when things should be okay. And this is really sad, but this is how things end up. The way that you really feel, the way that you're seeing and perceiving things is so important to a relationship, because it gives the other person, once you share those things, the opportunity to be able to adapt and adjust, if they want to what they're hearing, about how the other person is perceiving and feeling. People just want the easy way. They just want things to be easy. They just want to laugh their way through life. They don't really want to learn anything about the deeper meanings of life. They just want to lay around like this dog and roll in the grass and everything's going to work out. That's not how it works, unfortunately. It's just not how it works. And then you end up with all the other stuff that begins to disintegrate the relationship. One of my things at the moment is that everything's getting everything's getting blamed on narcissism, everything. And what is being left out is the fact that we have a carnal, sinful nature. And our carnal, sinful nature usually is undergirding all of these personality disorders and traits. And the sad part about it is we're born with it. We're all born with a carnal, sinful nature. And this is how you can really simplify things that are bringing you trouble. You can describe them as the Bible, as sin. If something's wrong, it's sin. If you're hiding something from your partner that you shouldn't, it's sin. If you're being cruel to your partner and there's an evil tendency to that, that's sin. Sin is related to evil, and we do evil to the people that we love. And part of these talks, this channel, is to help people to realize that there is a side to us that will want to destroy the things that matter to us, starting with ourselves. And so we find ourselves in predicaments where we don't understand what's happened. But the fact of the matter is, you're not going to understand what has happened unless you first understand in most cases, that you have a sinful nature. The Bible calls our sinful nature the old man, the Adamic nature, the fallen nature, the carnal nature. There's a nature that's hovering around inside us to work against us and influence us away from ourselves. And where Christianity or the New Testament comes into this, it reveals that at the cross, the Lord Jesus Christ abolished our carnal nature within himself. He got victory over it. It never beat him. And then he rose from the dead victorious without sin. So when we appropriate his spirit, that gives, and this is quite bizarre because we have another entity inside us and working for us to help us to overcome our sinful nature. When we try and make God happy or stop him from being sad, or we try and make people happy or stop them from being sad, we bring life to our carnal nature. How are you, mate? How you going? He must be deaf. Old bloke. Must be deaf as a doornail. So as we come to Christ and realise, you know, if we live a good moral life and we try and do the right thing, and we just letting this guy walk past. We're all headed to old age. We realise that it's each and every one of us to have the responsibility to be happy or prevent ourselves from being sad, which is a feat within itself. It's not easy. Sorry. Been going since dark. Then on the one hand, it takes the burden off us to try and manage the other person's emotions and feelings. You'll find a lot of mothers do this with their older children, their adult children that haven't developed. They make them into little husbands, or, you know, their life evolves around them, and oh no, it's it's not unusual anymore, but it's very uncomfortable to be around, I can tell you that. It prevents people from growing up. It prevents people from being challenged by life. It's easier to rely on your mum and what she has provided in life than to try and do it yourself, because you're too lazy or you're too dependent. And that's an evil within itself, isn't it? Because you're not being self-capable. So many of you are dealing with things and you're trying to psychologically figure them out, but you're not going to, because our carnal nature, and then you've got the spiritual realm, evil spirits and whatnot, are working against all things good. And I would suggest at this point that you read Romans chapter 7. It shows you, Paul says, when I try and do good, I end up doing bad. The more I tried to keep the law, the Mosaic law, the worse it became. And then he said, I found Christ, and that took that burden away from me. Christ made everything right with God. Morality and integrity makes everything right with our relationship, and people that aren't willing to live that way, you need to cut off and move away from. As quickly and as peacefully as you can.